Hey, hey, hey! You know what day it is? What day is it? It's Tuesday Tea with D. Come on, Tuesday Tea with D. Tuesday Tea with D. Tuesday Tea with D. It's Tuesday Tea with D. Tuesday Tea with D. Tuesday Tea with D. Come on, Tuesday Tea with D. Tuesday Tea with D. Tuesday Tea with D. Hey, boo, hey, it's your girl, Detra Trueheart, your life purpose generator, purpose provoker, your personal life coach, which with this week's dose and serving, a new tea, right? A new serving, a new dose of Tuesday Tea with D. And so, of course, we got our tea here. This is pomegranate green tea. Pomegranate green tea. I decided to switch a little bit. I've been wearing my elderberry tea out. It's been real good, but I'm like, let's do pomegranate green tea today. So good. All right. So today's conversation is kind of like a part two to last week's conversation around Are You Too Busy to Pray? And this week, I want to talk to you a little bit about how to find time to pray and to spend with God, right? I just believe that we got to move some stuff around. And so I'm going to give you 8 ways, some suggestions on how you can find time to pray, but also find time to spend with God, right? A lot of people, when I said, when's the last time that you prayed for an hour? Most people are like, it's been a minute, or I've never done it. And so I started out years ago, really like introducing people saying, start 5 minutes, start 10 minutes, start 15 minutes. And so if you're a beginner, I'll say start there. But I think that we have to get to a point of where if you have been a part of my community for longer than I'll say 2 years, like we're beyond just praying 5, 10, and 15 minutes. Like, are you able to dedicate a solid hour to God, right? A solid 30 minutes, a solid 60 minutes. Like, what does that time look like, right? And so sometimes the time may not necessarily be only prayer. But I think sometimes we have to get to a point where, if let's just say, back in the day, we used to have the shut-ins. And I remember at one of the churches that I was a member of, we used to have noonday prayer. And it was prayer during noonday prayer for the entire hour from 12 to 1 or 12 to 12:30. We prayed. And so when you got there was somebody leading the prayer, but we prayed for an hour. We prayed for 60 minutes. And so I think we have to get back to, can you pray but for an hour, right? Watch and pray but for an hour. Can you watch for an hour, right? Can you watch and cover and make sure while I'm going to do what I'm doing, you got me covered, right? So before we get into that conversation, of course, I want to share all things iSpeaklife Live, because guess what? It's coming up. And I want to make sure that your face is in the place. We officially have 2 VIP spots left. So if you were looking to get that exclusive access, if you were looking to have more access to me, more access in a smaller and intimate group, to be able to ask questions, to be able to get coaching, all of those sorts of things, I want to encourage you to go on ahead and get your early bird ticket for VIP. Also, because VIP, the early bird is going to be expiring at the end of the month. And so if you've been thinking about doing that, if you've been thinking about taking advantage of the 4Pay, which I have the option of, that's going to end at the end of the month. And so I want to encourage you to make sure that you get yourself in the room. If you've been looking at it and you've been questioning if whether or not it's worth the investment, I want to ask if you're worth the investment. It's not about whether the event is worth the investment, because those who come and those who are already in the room already know it's worth the investment. They already know that when they get there, that there's going to be something specifically for them. The question is, do you? So I want to, I'm going to put this up here just while I'm talking a little bit around just giving you time and space to unplug, giving you time and space to reconnect with yourself and God, giving you time and space to rediscover your dreams, giving you time and space to anchor your faith, right? Maybe your faith has been shaken a little bit. And so spending 3 days with me, I just believe that as high capacity, high achieving women, we need to be in spaces that allow us to be filled in the same way that we pour, allow us to not have to tend to everybody else, to be in a space where we are the focus. And that is why I created I Speak Life Live. So I want you to go to iSpeaklife.com, iSpeaklife.com in order to register today. You can get your general ticket or your VIP ticket. It doesn't matter. Getting in the room is where you want to be because the gems are going to be dropped in that room. But again, if you want exclusive access to me, exclusive access to coaching, exclusive access to a smaller intimate group where we go deeper, then you want to get into VIP. And again, as it shows, people want that because there are only two spots left. So with that being said, again, go to iSpeaklifelive.com, iSpeaklifelive.com to get your ticket. If you have questions, feel free to inbox me or email me. But I expect a sold out event for one, but I expect you to be in the room, right? If you've been thinking like, man, I would really love to go, then make your way here to Niagara Falls this December 1st, 2nd, and 3rd at the DoubleTree by Hilton, Niagara Falls. And we have negotiated a very good rate for those of you who are going to be coming. And so I would suggest that you not only get your ticket, but also plan to stay at the hotel. Best experience ever. All right. So let's get on to today's conversation. Let me just take another sip of this tea. This is good. Let me just tell you. All right. So I have my little notes here. And if you all remember, we talked a little bit yesterday from last week, not yesterday, from the book Too Busy Not to Pray. And so I wanted to come back as promised from last week to share some ways that you can find time to pray. The first one is wake up early. I know it's pretty simple, but if you wake up, let's just say at 6:30, I would encourage you to start waking up at 6, maybe wake up at 5:30 to get that time in. The next thing is you could possibly stay up later. So if your bedtime is 10 o'clock, then maybe stay up till 10:30 or shift the time so that if you still want to be in bed by 10 o'clock, then you start at 9 or 9:30, right? Make sure the kids and stuff are in bed, but you got to figure out something, and you got to look at your schedule and figure out where you can fit this in. And so then the first two are always either wake up a little bit earlier or stay up a little bit later, or move whatever you do as your nighttime routine. And so if you're Netflixing or Huluing or Peacocking or Paramount Plusing or Prime Videoing, or even like, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night football. I don't know if they come on any. I know it's Monday, Sunday, and Wednesday, or Thursday night football, and even on Saturdays. But whatever you're doing at night, let's just say that's your reading time. Well, try reading the Bible and then praying during that time, but you got to be able to fit it in somewhere. The other thing that I will say is do it on your lunch break. So if you have 30 minutes to an hour for a lunch break, then eat and pray. Eat and read your scriptures. Decide to not go out to lunch with friends. Go by yourself and spend that time with God. Again, I'm giving you some simple things to do that maybe you've thought about, but you just haven't made time to do it. Okay. The next thing is cut something out. I know you don't want to hear me say that, but you're busy doing a whole bunch of stuff. And so while you're busy showing up for everybody else, you're not taking time out for you, and you're most assuredly not taking time out for God. And so what does it look like to maybe pull back from some of those committee meetings, some of those, church committees that you're a part of, the community, committees and boards that you're a part of, where you spend, half an hour, maybe 90 minutes in meetings. Where can you cut something back to fit God in? That's a quotable. Where can you cut something back to fit God in? Right? If you have no time, You wake up, you go to work, maybe you come home, get the kid, do homework with the kids, maybe, and that's if you have children, and then, you do dinner. Like, what can you cut out? What can you maybe delegate, right? And that's not even on the list, but what can you delegate so that you have some time for yourself? Are your children old enough to do some of the things that you do? So maybe they do the wash the dishes. Maybe they do the laundry. Maybe, some of the things that you do when you come home, you have them do that while you take some time out for yourself. The other thing that I didn't add to this was maybe on your commute. And so if you ride the bus, if you ride the train, or some of you call it the subway, if you drive, you can drive and pray. You know what I mean? If you've got a 45-minute ride to work, honey, start talking to God, right? Have you in a have a come to Jesus moment, right? Like, start communing with your Heavenly Father during that time. I know you like to listen to your radio and get your jam on, or maybe listen to your favorite podcast or your favorite, preaching. Maybe you miss service on Sunday and you want to catch it on Monday. I don't know, right? Maybe you're listening to Tuesday Tea with D. Honey, on your way to work, cut me off. You hear me? And have some time with the Lord. Right? Which means you got to cut something out. Like, sometimes you got to figure out, okay, where can I fit this in? Because here's the thing that I think is really important is where, we can't fit him in, but we want him to fit us in. We can't fit him in, but we want him to fit us in. As soon as, that hits the fan, all of a sudden, Lord, where are you? Like, do you not see me? Why is this happening? Blah, 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 blah. Right? It's an all-out pity party, and we want God to show up right then and there, fair and square, like boom, with no question about the fact that we ain't been around for 3 weeks. And so this is not to guilt trip you, but this is to say that make him a priority. And not just because you want something, but because you want to be in relationship with him. A lot of times when I'm working with one-on-one clients, a lot of the struggles that they have sometimes are dealt with when I start giving them and having them spend time with themselves, spend time with God, get clarity on what's working, get clarity on what's not working. And then some of that stuff just falls off. They build confidence. They get clear about, what they should be doing and what they shouldn't be doing. They've got tools in their toolbox to be able to deal with the fear and the limiting beliefs and time. And so sometimes you have to cut something out, and you have to decide, like, I can't do that for this season. I've got to, if in order for me to make sure I'm making time for God, I got to cut something away. The next thing is schedule it in. Schedule it in, child. Put it on your calendar. Stop just leaving it, as a humdrum, like, oh, I'll figure it out tomorrow. No, tomorrow at 9:00, that's my time with Jesus. Tomorrow at noon for lunch, I'm having lunch with God. Tomorrow at, I don't know, right, on my way home, right? And specifically, if you have a commute, I remember years ago for my first master's degree, I used to ride 45 minutes back and forth to go to a church. And during that time, I would spend time reading. I would spend time writing. I would spend time praying. Like, I had different things to do. And because I was in school, one of the major things I did was I did my homework, because I knew I had massive reading to do. So I was reading 45 minutes there and 45 minutes back. And so if that is your thing, and you're driving for 45 minutes, half an hour, if you're riding the bus, put you some headphones on, some silent blockers, or put your headphones in and put in, an instrumental worship music. So you're tuned in, right? You're looking around, but you're tuned in. But there are ways that you can make time. I hope this is helping you. And so again, schedule it in, put it on your calendar. And when you put it on your calendar, set a reminder. One of the things for anything on my calendar, child, if it don't have a reminder, one, it's in my calendar, yes, but two, there's got to be a reminder. I have a day before reminder and an hour before reminder, because with everything I have going on, sometimes I just forget. Like, I try not to keep anything in my head. And so if it's not in my head, then I don't always remember it. So I try to look at my calendar to see what I have going on. And so, like, my morning routine, my morning time with God is in there. And so where is your time with God on your schedule? You got all of these meetings and all of these emails and all of these things that you have to do, and nowhere on your calendar is your personal time with God. Let's change that. I'm helping you today. All right. So the other thing is be intentional and make it a consistent part of your daily routine. So it's not like, oh, let me try this out today and see how it is. No, no, no. Like for the next 30 days and moving forward, like I'm going to do this at 9 o'clock, from 9 to 9:30, or from 9 to 10. That's my time with God. Right. And so my time used to be from 6:30 to 6 to 7. But now, because my son has to be at school earlier, I'm probably going to have to move it up from 5:30 to 6:30, or like 5:45 ish to 6:45 when I get him up and get situated. And so I've been playing around with that. And so it's in my calendar just to kind of see how that works. And so you have to, like, you will have to make some adjustments, but outside of that, I think it's important to at least have something in your calendar, because if you don't have anything in your calendar, then like it's as if it doesn't even exist. You know what I'm saying? So be intentional with it, but also make it a consistent part of your daily routine. All right. So the next thing that I have is, let those who you live with or you are in community with, let them know, so that they can hold you accountable. And this also helps with boundaries, right? So if you already know, if you put it on your schedule, then you already know, unfortunately, I can't do that at that point. I have a personal meeting. And you don't even have to say personal meeting. You say, I already have something on my schedule. When it's on your schedule, it doesn't matter if it's like, if you have a doctor's appointment, you're not like, oh, I can do that, let me move my doctor's appointment around. No, because nowadays, child, these doctor's appointment, if you miss it, or if you have to reschedule it, it might be 3 months down the line. And so we don't want to treat God like that, like, oh, well, I can reschedule it 3 months down the line. Honey, let's not do that. Let's make sure that that time, your morning routine, your sacred time with God, is on your schedule. Okay. And also tell people, say, okay, now starting, if you wake up in the morning, you can't come in here until I'm done with my quiet time, done with my prayer time, done with my morning routine. Like starting tomorrow, I'm going to be getting up for my prayer time. And so if my door is closed, don't come in. Start teaching your children and your family, right? If you have prayer time, you can put your phone on do not disturb. You don't have to answer right then and there. Because if you were in the dentist's office, or if you were anywhere where you may not necessarily be accessible during that time period, don't answer the phone. And so during this time with God, put your phone on do not disturb for the next half an hour, 45 minutes, hour and a half, 2 hours, however much time you need, so that you can have uninterrupted time with God. Let's not overcomplicate this. It doesn't have to be hard. You make it hard because you don't make it a priority. That was actually a good word that I didn't mean to match up with drinking the tea, but that called for some tea. You make it hard because you don't make it a priority. And I get it. Some stuff is just hard because it is, but we get to choose our hard. We get to choose it. And so, there are going to be some things that are hard, but you get to choose, right? And so make it a priority, right? Don't make it hard, make it a priority. All right. So the last one, I hope this is juicy for me. It's a good reminder, because I've been teaching this for, I don't know, a long time. I'll just say I've been teaching this for a very long time. So to be sharing this again with you, which I literally could make this a masterclass, but just, this is good stuff. So I hope that this is helping you. I hope that you are taking notes. I hope that you plan to come back and listen to it again multiple times so that you can take it in. And the last thing, most importantly, and there are other things that I could share, but these were the 8 things, and it might have been more than 8 in between because I kind of like grouped a couple of them together, is to make the time. The way that you find time to spend with God and you find time to pray is by making the time. Okay? By making the time. Stop trying to find the time and make the time. Create the time. Schedule the time in. Oh, I've been trying to find time, but I just Child, I wish God did us the way we do him. Oh, I forgot. Oh, I forgot you needed that healing by today. I forgot you needed that check in the mail by today. I forgot you needed me to heal your marriage by today. And God is not confined to our time, but it's just, I think we have to really be intentional about how we treat him and really how we treat the people, right? Who we are in relationship with. And he is one of those. And so make the time, let it be important, right? You send those emails and it's got the exclamation marks or it shows that it's of high importance. This is at that, it's even higher than that. So wake up early, stay up later, do it on your lunch break, or even do it. I had another, let me see, what else did I have here? Or right after work, right? So let's just say you get off of work at 4:30 and you're not crunched for time to have to pick your children up. Maybe you stay at work a little bit later, or maybe you go to a coffee shop and you do it there, right? But you could do it on your commute, right? And so cut something out. Excuse me. Schedule it in, and this is all one. Schedule it in, put it on your calendar, set a reminder, right? The other one is be intentional and make it a consistent part of your daily and morning routine, or just your daily routine, whether it's morning, evening, or whatever. Let those you know and that's those you live with and those you are in community with, let them know what you're going to be doing so that they can hold you accountable, but also so that you are now in a space where you can uphold those boundaries, where it's like, well, since when you started doing that, you didn't tell me. I'm telling you now. Like, listen, I'm really recommitting, to getting back and building my prayer life and really spending with God a little bit more. And so this time to this time, like, if I don't answer when you call, if I don't respond when you text or whatever, that's what's going on. But I also, just for accountability, if you could hold me accountable, right? I believe that we do better when we're in community. All right. So, the last one, make the time. So, stop trying to find the time and make the time. Stop trying to find the time and make the time. All right. So, I hope that what I shared with you on how to find time to pray, to spend time with God, has been helpful. Let me know which one of these you are going to start doing immediately. Let me know if you're already doing them. Like, I want to know in the comments. Email me, inbox me, whatever. Let me know if you want more information about how to build your and develop your spiritual, how to increase and grow your spiritual development, personal development, all of those. If there are topics that you're like, oh, I would love for you to teach on this, let me know. But I really felt like I needed to do a part 2 from last week, just to give you those tips, those tools, strategies, and the suggestions really on how to find time to pray and to spend time with God. So with that being said, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you are liking the videos. Make sure you are commenting. Make sure you're sharing them with at least 5 people. Click the share link and send it out and say, hey, check out this week's Tuesday Tea with D. You don't even have to tell them what it's about. And also just tell them to share it with somebody, right? The other thing I want to remind you of, as I always do, is that iSpeaklife Live is coming up December 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of 2023. We are about 80 days away. And so this is my 3-day transformational spirit-led experience for the high-achieving, purpose-pursuing woman of faith who is ready to unplug, rediscover her dreams, anchor her faith, and reconnect with herself and God. And so if that is you, I would love for you to join me at iSpeaklife.com, iSpeaklifelive.com. Register. Again, there are 2 VIP spots left. If you want one, it's yours for the taking until they are sold out. But I want you in the room. And here's the other thing. We make time for what we want. Make time for this. Make time for you. Make time to be like, well, oh my goodness, 3 days. Why can't it be a half day? Because it's not. How about that? Because it's not. It's not a half day. And I'll tell you about that next week, but I do have something coming up that is a preview to iSpeaklife Live, and it's called The Prelude. It's September 30th, and I'm just going to drop it there and I'm going to leave it there. And so if you're in the area or if you want to fly in, you can. But I am going to be doing a prelude, called a preview to iSpeaklife Live. And so if that's something that you want to participate in addition to coming, right? Then, I'd love to see your face at both events, right? So the September 30th event and the December 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. But the December 1st, 2nd, and 3rd is the one that I really want to see your face in the place at. All right. So with that being said, I hope that today was what you needed. And even if you didn't know what you needed, it was what you got. You got what you needed. And I think that's it. I'm feeling like, if I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I need to share with you, but I don't. I think the last thing is I will see you next time on Tuesday Tea with D. Tuesday Tea with D. Tuesday Tea with D. Tuesday Tea with D.